opportunity that exists on the market because of the situation of plastic pollution. It's a huge issue, which brings a lot of opportunities for us, and we could discover the extent really of that situation in the world and how the regulators and the political bodies like the UN and the European Union are actually putting pressure towards more recycling and towards changing the whole industry and mindset around plastic, which is great because for us as entrepreneurs and investors and business people, we want to surf the wave of a bigger market because it's much more effortless in our manifestation. So today we're going to talk about more the technology of this recycling and the different solutions that exist. And in the third module will be the most important and will be the completion of the understanding of the ecosystem, will be focused on the business model of this company and how we are part of this business model. Great, so let's jump in. Plastic recycling, technologies, and solutions. So first of all, let's talk about the different main ways for waste disposal, for, of course, plastic waste disposal. There's three main categories and many other small projects, but let's talk about the three main ones. First of all, you have incineration, which means that we're going to burn the plastic waste to get energy. It's quite developed in Europe, in the developed countries, and also in the third world. So burning the waste to get some energy, even though it pollutes, is still better than putting it in nature and giving it hundreds of years to degrade naturally. So it's not great. It's not really a recycling technique, but it's a very well implemented technology all around the world. So at least it doesn't rot in nature. At least we get something out of it, some energy, some electricity. Better than incineration, we have what is called mechanical recycling. So this is about reducing the plastic waste into small pieces, what we call plastic pellets. You might have seen that in some documentaries or on the news. When they show that they are doing plastic recycling, you saw all these little beads that also sometimes end up in nature. So that's much better than burning it because it doesn't cause all this pollution. We can reuse it for something else. Now we need to understand that when we're doing mechanical recycling, you need to put new plastic with these plastic pellets in order to use it again. Because when you're shredding this plastic in little pieces, you still have, you know, the chemicals and the paints and the coloring and the stickers that were on it and so on. So it's not good quality plastic. So to make bricks, for example, that we're going to use in construction for roads and buildings, you take these plastic pellets, which comes from recycling, and then you put new plastic also. Bit better than burning. Now, today, in our day and age, we can do better. And that's what we're going to talk about today. It's called the advanced recycling. And the goal is to decompose chemically the plastic into its constituent. And you know, plastic comes from petrol. It comes from crude oil. It's actually possible, and we're going to discover that today, how you can extract from the plastic the original material, almost as close as possible, and then you can make new plastic with it. That's much better because you can have a high quality of plastic. So you have several technologies for that. Pyrolysis is the main one we're going to discuss today. You have catalysis, solvolysis, you have enzymes, you have work with bacteria. But here we're focused on solutions that have a chance of making a difference on the larger scale in the world. Let's look at what's happening in France, for example, because I'm from France and it's a developed country. So we are told when you put the plastic into this yellow bin, it's going to be recycled, no problem. And then that's what we are led to believe. But the truth is, in France today, 25% of the plastic waste is going to be burned, so incineration, 15% only is actually recycled, mostly with the mechanical recycling. And 60%, which is most of the trash, it actually ends up in landfills. And that's shocking, because we were told that when we put it into this plastic bin, it's going to be recycled. But it's not true. Like we saw last time, until 2016, we were actually shipping all this plastic waste to Asia. And today we cannot ship it to Asia anymore. So we put it in landfills and we try to develop the recycling. It's probably similar situation in America and in the other modern countries. We are told we recycle, but truly we recycle, less than 20%. Great. So today we talk about advanced recycling. Why is it really a big opportunity? Let's look at what McKinsey is saying. McKinsey is a global strategy and consulting firms where actually many of my friends from school have been working. And they made this study in 2023. So this is from this year. McKinsey, they advise the CEOs of all the top companies, and their business is enormous. So they're really the reference with the Boston Consulting Group for the global strategy and what's happening on the market. And McKinsey, they're saying that actually the advanced recycling opportunity is going to grow to require more than $40 billion by 2030 and $90 billion by 2040. So you can see here on the little analysis. In black, it's the plastic that's coming from petrol. In light blue is the advanced recycling, and in navy blue is the mechanical recycling. So you can see the mechanical recycling is projected to become bigger and bigger, from 7% to almost 20%. And the advanced recycling, which is the one that CORSAIR is doing, is almost inexistent in 2020, and is going to grow to 6 to 10% of the market. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that the whole of the industry, for investment, for petrochemical companies manufacturing plastic, and all the environmental agencies are going to focus into this opportunity. $90 billion in 2040 to almost zero today, or in 2020. So you see, it's a market that literally explodes now. And it's McKinsey who is saying that. And then there is a study from Google from last year. And Google is showing this in the report. I can send you the link. It's a very long report on everything that's happening around plastic. In 2019, the size of the market, of the current capacity for this recycling, is 1 square. And you can see for mechanical recycling, which is the one that just cuts into little pieces and then you need new plastic, is going to multiply by 4 by 2030 and then by 6, 2040. A market that multiplies by 6 is already great. Now look at the chemical recycling. They are predicting that by 2040, this market, due to the capacity that is required, the market needs, is going to multiply by 135 times. Do you see that? So Google and McKinsey analyze and tell us there's an enormous market for chemical recycling, meaning redecomposing the plastic into a oil that then we can make new plastic with it. So that's what we're going to talk about today, because CORSAIR started in 2020 and is going to ride this huge wave. And we want to ride this wave with them. So that's amazing, and that's very big. Let's talk now more pragmatic. What is this advanced recycling called pyrolysis? The simplified process, I took it from a video on YouTube, it's this. You heat not too high, around 400 degrees. You put the plastic into a container. You take out the oxygen and you just heat it. You play with the pressure and the temperature, and you have two main products. The first one is gas that comes out of the plastic. And the second one is this pyrolysis oil, resembling to gasoline. And that's what we're looking for. We're going to see real pictures after. So basically, it's a cooking pot in which we put the plastic, we take out the oxygen, we heat it, but we don't burn, and it's going to re-decompose, it's going to melt into gas and oil. Makes sense because it comes from petrol. So we're going to dive a bit deeper. This particular technology, the pyrolysis, is very efficient and very ecological. That's why we're so interested about it. So let's talk about the efficiency so we have really an idea. Today, the technology on the market, it can convert all the plastic waste into pyrolysis oil up to 75%. And CORSAIR developed the knowledge by working with all the industrial and university experts up to 90%, and they proved it. So it means that their capacity, when you take a big pile of plastic, is that they can transform that up to 90% into what we want, the pyrolysis oil. So that's very efficient. There is little loss there. And the most important is that when you make new plastic with this oil, it's going to have the same quality as if you made it with new petrol. And this is major because with the mechanical recycling, when you cut in little pieces and then you put new plastic, it's bad quality. You cannot make containers for food or for the pharmaceutical industry because there is all these chemicals and these paints and this waste inside. Here is much more interesting because it's literally saying that you can take the plastic waste and make new plastic, same quality than if you did it with petrol. So of course we should use it because remember what we saw last time, there's 10 billion tons of plastic laying around in nature. And we could take from this plastic and make the same quality. Also for the pharmaceutical industry and for the food industry. So it's very efficient. Now let's talk about the energy balance. What does it require? What's the most interesting with this technology is that the gas that is emitted by the process is going to be then burned to heat the machine. So it's self-sustaining. And that's very powerful because the actual recycling plant, it doesn't require so much energy. It's very ecological. All you need is electricity to push the plastic into the machine with a hydraulic press. So here you need to push with the electricity to make the engine run. And then you need water, a water source to clean the gas and make sure the whole process doesn't pollute. So that's why it's very efficient and very ecological at the same time. And that's why we're so excited about it. All right. So you can make new plastic, same quality as if you took new petrol, and it almost doesn't require any energy. Super powerful. Now let's look at what's coming out of this process. First of all, you're going to have the actual pyrolysis oil. We're going to call it plastic oil. That's what we're looking for. It looks like this when it's very high quality. It's very transparent. This pyrolysis oil is what's going to be used to make new plastic later. Then you have gas. But these gases, we said, we're going to put them in a pipe and then burn them under the oven. So they are used in the process to make the machine run. And finally, you have some black residue. It's actually charcoal. And it's coming from all the paints and the coloring and the chemicals that were inside the plastic. They're going to pile up, at the end of the process. And it's like a very dark charcoal material. And the good news is that we can also do something with this black material. We actually sell it to companies that are coloring car tires. And that's what I really love about this process, is that they found a way to valorize all the byproducts of the process. So you have a lot of plastic waste that no one wants, no one knows what to do with it, and it's really polluting the planet and our own bodies. And here you're going to extract everything from it. You're going to give job to people to clean it and operate the machine. You're going to get this pyrolysis oil to make new plastic and make the economy circular. You're going to have gas that you clean and then you burn to make the machine run. And then even the black stuff that we could say is the pollution, actually this you can use it as a colorant for car tires, for example. This gets me very excited because it's a very smart process to do something useful and also lucrative with all the plastic waste we're having. I propose not to go too much in the details on the actual process itself, but you can pause this video in the replay if you want to look. But basically, you have to sort out the trash, to clean it, prepare it, and put it in the machine, which is called here the pyrolysis. It's going to make gas that you need to wash to make sure you don't pollute in the environment. It's going to make the actual pyrolysis oil after you condense it, because it's very hot. It's going to make this carbon black material. And then you're going to clean everything that is coming out of the machine. You clean the gas, you clean the pyrolysis oil, and you make sure it doesn't pollute the environment. So everything you see here in green is modules that are here to clean everything around the process. I'm going to show you in images right after. But what's crazy is that there's as many machines to clean all the gas and the products than machines to actually recycle. So there is this ISCC that is very important. It's the International Sustainability and Carbon Certification. It's the body that is checking everything regarding pollution, carbon credits, and now it's going to look at plastic. This institute, it has a certification that is quite hard to get. For example, in Thailand, there's only 2 companies that have it, including CORSAIR. So we could be like, okay, great, we're going to talk about a certification, but actually it's quite important. Why? I'm going to show you. First of all, it guarantees very low pollution levels, because to have this certification, experts are coming to check your machine and to study the byproducts, and they check that you're not polluting the environment because you're not washing the gas or because you're letting it leak in the waters. So if you have the certification, is that you could prove to these experts that you have a very clean process. Second, it guarantees the traceability. How you account for every kilo of plastic that is going in the machine, and how many liters of oil and gas and the charcoal. So the goal is to make sure that nothing goes missing and that is buried somewhere in nature. And lastly, it's quite important, our clients, the ones that are buying this recycled material from the petrochemical industry, they require to buy this plastic oil only from people who have this certification. Again, to make sure no one is creating the product and polluting further. So CORSAIR, this company, it has this certification. It's hard to get, it's rare. And it's very important because it guarantees to our client and to the world that we have a really clean process. Okay, so just a word about the certification to guarantee that this whole chemical recycling plant is not polluting further the environment. Now, what's very interesting about this particular product of CORSAIR is that it's extremely high quality on the market. You can find on YouTube some videos of people doing the process in their garage with big tanks, and they're burning the plastic to make oil and put it in their scooter. But actually, that's going to pollute a lot. It's hard to do a very high quality oil that is transparent, like you saw before. And CORSAIR is very proud of their product because they work for 18 months in order to get it to that level. The first time they had their plant, they make their machine, they brought it to the petrochemical industries, and they looked and they said, sorry, it's not good enough quality. We cannot make new plastic with this. And they had to work for 1.5 years with all the experts of Thailand, and probably also some international, to tune the machine and the process and make sure they have the highest quality of oil, which is amazing because then you can sell it for more money and make more clean plastic. Now let's talk about the carbon emission, because we can think, oh, these big plants, they're releasing so much carbon in the atmosphere because they're burning the gas and using electricity. This study that I'm gonna give you access to as well, it discovered that when you compare the pyrolysis, what we're talking about, and the incineration, which is this other process where you burn the waste for energy, pyrolysis is actually emitting half less CO2 than incineration. So this particular technology that CORSAIR is bringing to the market is saving carbon emissions compared to what is already used everywhere around Europe and America, these burning plants. So on top of being very good for the quality of the plastic, it's also better for the emissions in the atmosphere. So really, the more you dig in this pyrolysis world, the more your mind is blown. Because how come we didn't do this before? And I remind you why. It's because it was not mandatory. It was never mandatory to do the recycling, so big companies just continued to take new petrol and make new plastic and not care where it's going to go. Thankfully, this is about to change. So today we really looked at some specific reasons why pyrolysis is the future around making the plastic industry a circular economy, like paper, like glass, and like metal. So that's it for the hard contents. Now let's look at some images. This is the machines that CORSAIR has and that I visited myself in Thailand, in the center in Bangkok. So you have some blue machines, you have some gray machines, you have newer models that are green, but just so you know, they're coming from China and from Korea. They're the manufacturers of these machines. Then, of course, you need to install it and to operate it. And what you can see here on the left picture is that you have a press, a hydraulic press. They're actually putting the ballots of plastic here once it's cleaned and ready. And then this hydraulic press is pushing and piling up the plastic in the container. And a human is approximately a bit less than half of the height. Now let's look at the centers that we have now in Thailand. That's the one I visited. I have videos. I'm arriving here with the car. Today it looks like this. It's quite big. I think it's 2 hectares. And you can see all the plastic waste over there. Before there used to be a lake here. Now it's a pile of trash because they keep expanding and piling up more trash. That's the way it is. And the project that they're having is to make it even nicer, but most importantly, to put many more machines. So if we look at all the pictures of this project, it's going to look like that. A lot of these machines, perfectly aligned and piled up so that it's efficient to run. So in a few years, when we go visit their centers, we get to compare the pictures with this plan. And I told you before, and if you don't remember now, you have the information again. They opened in Finland, in a wonderful place in the middle of a lake. Used to be a paper factory that relocated to the south of America. They took over 6 hectares, this entire L-shaped building there. And they started to move in and install the first machine since this summer. So today, they have been installing the first reactor. So here you see another color. And I just wanted to show you this. This set of machines is the same size as the whole reactor. And this entire set of machine here is just to clean the gas and to ensure that the process is clean and doesn't pollute the water or the air. Remember, I was telling you before, there's actually almost more machines to clean around the reactor than the reactor itself. So that you can see in pictures. And like I said in the introduction, they are starting the tests at the moment or when I'm recording this training. Great. Let's conclude by looking at the vision of this company, because the proposition is that we join forces with this company and we allow ourselves to ride this business carried by the regulations, make money in that process in a conscious way, and clean out plastic from the environment. So we need to know, where is this partner going? Their objective at 2030 is to be able to remove 2 billion kilograms of plastic from the environment every year. That's what they want to do. And they want to be able to produce at least 1 billion liters of plastic oil. That means they're not recycling everything themselves. Remember, we were saying it's around 80 to 90% of efficiency. The reason why they can remove more plastic from the environment than oil is because they're going to bring contributors into the program who are other companies doing recycling. Maybe not chemical recycling, but any company who is recycling plastic today, they can join in a contributor program and be part of this vision. Their goal is to reach 1 billion euro of sales of this plastic oil and their activities in 7 years. And they want to open 144 locations in the world and 81 countries. So today, where are we in this vision? First of all, we said there's already 3 machines running in Thailand. That's where they started their proof of concept since the beginning of the COVID in 2020. Today, they are opening in Finland. That's this summer. Last summer, they opened in Finland, a huge center, which will have 50 machines. Then they started to announce a partnership in Sardinia, in Italy. And now they just announced opening a center in Finland, in the Netherlands, and in Laos. So in just a few years, it's going to be already 7 centers on this 144. And of course, the bigger you grow, the faster it is to install these centers. It's quite an easy business because you just need a roof, water, electricity, and some staff. You don't need a fancy building because it's industrial employees that go there, and it's quite cheap actually to implement. So today, more and more people are trying to get this company to come to their countries. And I think today the CEO is flying to Canada to go and open the activities in Canada. So 2 billion kilograms of plastic removed from the environment every year. It's huge. Today, I remind you what we saw in the first class. It was 500 million tons of plastic that we need every year. And now, to conclude today, I want to tell you something incredible that the CEO has told me. Even if CORSAIR reaches this vision of having 144 centers with so many machines running all the time, taking out so much plastic from the environment, there is still room for 100 other companies the same size as CORSAIR. Even if CORSAIR achieves 2 billion kilograms removed from the environment every year, 144 centers all around the world, there's still enough plastic waste for another 100 companies of the same size. And that's truly mind-blowing, because you realize first how big is the market, and that is not so competitive. You know, it's already shifting to a new paradigm here. And we're really happy about that because we can easily work towards a great new vision, and it's not going to be so painful and difficult and competition-based like what's happening today in the world in all the other industries. Okay, let's do the recap. We talked about pyrolysis. The most important thing you need to remember is that you can make plastics of the same quality as if you took new petrol. That's the most important. Because then it means you can take out all this plastic that is in the environment and you can stop to take new petrol. Number one. Number two is very ecological because it makes its own energy that it needs to run, and it's clean based on the certifications of the ISCC. And that's all I want you to remember about pyrolysis. Same quality as new petrol and very ecological. And then we talked a bit about this company, our partner, CORSAIR. What they want to do, if you remember in one sentence, they want to bring this pyrolysis technology at a large scale. Not a small country that has one machine over there and one community in this village that is conscious has one machine. They want to bring this technology to a big scale, an industrial scale. In order to do what? To create a lot of this plastic oil to meet the big market needs. You remember we said in the first class that 30% of the new plastics by 2030, they need to be made from recycled material. A third of the material for the new plastic needs to come from this plastic oil. So the market is enormous. And that's why McKinsey and Google are saying this is an enormous market. So it's a great opportunity not to be missed. We talked about the current projects. I need to update these numbers since I came back from Rome. Now we said will be 7 machines at least in the coming couple of years, with having more than 144 if possible centers in 2030. And that's it, guys. I think that's enough for today. The goal of this class was to understand that pyrolysis, this technology, is actually the best solution to make a circular economy, because it's good for the environment and it's really making the same quality of plastic. So it can meet our needs based on our waste and not new petrol.